Oh, you guys will like this one. I mean, it's not a good one, but it's just gonna. Okay. West Monroe woman accused of rape, battery, and ritualistic acts. I was saying something on my Insta because I was saying that all these groups have problems, like regardless of the religion. It's just sort of like they're all a bunch of swine, okay? And including this female. So this is basically you'll see the same dynamic in Christianity. You'll see it in every religion we could pull up. I say, throw it at me, I'll find it for you, and I'll show you the correlations, the same exact bullshit, and it's in every single thing. This is basically human trafficking. It's not any different than, say, the LOA cultist, and they're everywhere. Holy crap. And they're still going on. They're still going strong, you guys, in the craziest way. But it's no different than, like, maybe the Keith Bernier story of, starting a cult. Okay, so this is in Louisiana. Is that Louisiana? A West Monroe woman was arrested after an investigation found she was accused of rape and battery, along with performing what officers say were ritualistic acts. Can't we put that with the Christians too? Because those are ritualistic acts. I mean, basically, I don't know why everybody separates themselves from each other, because technically they're all the same. Just a different theatrics, right? That's what I was even taught by people that taught me all about this stuff. Okay, so the Ochita Parish Sheriff's Office began the investigation on September 21st of 2023. The alleged victim was interviewed by a forensic investigator on September 27th of 2023. According to the arrest records, the victim told the investigator that they were in a polyamorous relationship with Hannah Frisbee, who was described as the head of the group, along with 3 other men who were described to be the husbands of the relationship. Couldn't that even be for some of those Mormon cults too, right? So just remove like what the religion is and look at the framework of this thing, right? Okay, so documents show the victim was told Frisbee does not do long distance, so the victim needed to live with the group. This is like human trafficking, though. Like, you start getting into this thing, because then it goes, upon first move-in, the victim was allegedly told that they had to denounce their religion, as the rest of the group practiced other religions, such as witchcraft, Satanism, and Vikingism. I could tell you, I don't know crap about Vikingism, but it sounds pretty Neanderthalish. Okay. The victim told investigators they got in trouble by the second week of living there, and their punishment was to get in a scalding hot bathtub, scrub themselves with a bristled brush covered in bleach in front of other people, which was meant to rid the victims of evil spirits. Like, honest to God, this could be Christianity. It could be a tank of things. But this is that right there. Okay, so according to the arrest records, Frisbee allegedly put a puppy on a table for the victim and held a large knife to the puppy's chest, telling the victim it was a sacrifice to God. I don't know what religion that is, because in witchcraft, I don't know anybody who did that. That would be from, I mean, unless it's somebody going back to the Stone Ages and trying to that thing. Like I said, the only other religion that I was aware of that did any type of animal things was Santeria. And Satanism didn't do that. Like, it was portrayed in movies, like they did that stuff, but in real life, they from my knowledge of things that were going on, that was not part of anything. They kind of laughed that stuff off, and they kind of messed with the Christians with that stuff. But anyways, but when you have the public running off and they just come up with stuff, and if they're running off of Hollywood or something weird, you might get this. Yeah, it's a little strange, but anyway, did they kill the puppy? This is horrible. The affidavit states the victim said the abuse got worse as time went on. And it doesn't say if they killed the dog, but that's they murdered an animal. The affidavit states the victim said the abuse got worse as time went on. and they were eventually told they are nothing more than a slave. Wow, we got some, supremacy stuff up here, right? I told you, when they start teaching about slavery, they need to teach about male supremacy and sociopathy, because you're going to understand why the slave thing keeps coming up. It's a crazy thing, but these people are literal sociopaths, okay? Because there's a God complex. There's all these different things, okay? It'll make it so clear and understandable why this is all going on, mostly from way back into, the Stone Ages, okay? And was to give sex to the husbands of the group on demand. So that's rape and human trafficking, right? Because we did see this with Keith Raniere. The victim also told investigators that in order to move up ranks in the family, they need to help reproduce. Basically, this is Christianity. Like, you could literally dissect these things. And I was making a joke, but it was not really a joke. I could literally take a classroom of kids, right? And put this framework, right? And leave the sacrificial thing out of it. And put some of these things in it, right? And go, oh yeah, you need to help, men reproduce and become slaves and things like that. And I think that most people would probably identify and say, oh, Christianity. And then I pulled up another one where the guy was saying, no, if a husband tells you that you need to stop working, then you need to stop working, and you need to respect your head of the household, which is male supremacy, men, right? And that, basically the back to the kitchen thing and all that. And I go, I guarantee you that the classroom would assume it's probably Christianity, and it wasn't. And so I go, yeah, you could play, not tricking them, but seeing how much they don't know about every religion out here and how much they're alike and the thing that unites them all. And so that's your answer to all this crap here, because it goes way back, and there's religions before, Christianity, all that stuff. It's just a ongoing cycle of things that are just branching off, and you could go to any country and it's still the same framework. And the people that are doing it are sociopaths. They are, because they're like literally forcing people to do things against their will. And I'm trying to explain that where it actually derived from, because somebody asked me a question about pedophiles. I was like, but I already knew about this because I was already studying this stuff actually after, all my, well, actually during my assault, I was studying this stuff. And then I moved on to studying more stuff because I was ultra curious about anything outside of what America's trying to shove up you. And so I felt a lot more educated and was able to, now I have them all in my head, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, they're all the same. Like, there's these things and I can pull them out. And I'm like, let me show you, it's like this thing right here. And it doesn't matter the religion, really. It's the same framework. It's in there. Like, no matter what you think, even though it comes across like, oh no, we're all wholesome and we believe in, this, all of a sudden inside of it, there's this mass misogyny and, all this other thing into it. Yeah, it's all the same. So it says documents show Frisbee allegedly told one of the husbands to release the victim from the house as they were not a good partner, but the husband refused. The affidavit states the victim's sibling visited the house at one point, and the victim said they told their sibling to help them get out of the house. So now they're holding them against their will. So we have kidnapping, abduction, whatever you want to call it, false imprisonment, a number of things here going on. The sibling allegedly told the victim that they would help the victim leave. Okay, so according to the document, the victim's mother contacted Frisbee to let them know about the victim's upcoming appointments. Frisbee allegedly told the mother that the victim had their phone taken away but could call when one of the husbands got back. This is like straight up human trafficking, abduction. Oh my God, there's so much wrong in this, and rape and probably murder. Okay, so the affidavit states Frisbee allegedly invited the victim's entire family over for dinner. I would not want to go here. Okay, so the victim said their sibling came to the house and OPSO was at the door a short time later to take the victim. What's that? I was like, wait, I don't know what that is. Okay, I'll get into the. Oh, okay. According to the arrest record, Frisbee told officers the victim was the only one in the residence to have their phone taken away. Frisbee alleged that it was that is what the victim wanted. Oh yeah, can you take my phone away so I can't contact anybody from the world? That's a great thing. I can't imagine anybody doing that. Frisbee told officers she knew about the victim's medical history and knew the victim received SSI each month, but never took money from the victim. Okay, so that's one thing that they didn't do. I was like, out of all these horrible things. Okay, on December 14th, Frisbee was arrested and booked into the Ochita Correctional Center on charges of first-degree rape, ritualistic acts, and aggravated battery. But not human trafficking, false imprint, none of that other stuff. Like, hello. And I don't know about this murder thing. So, yes. Now take a look at her. Yeah, I kind of would expect it. I was like, and she's kind of smirking. Does she look upset to you? No. No, she feels empowered. This is what this is all about, guys. And unfortunately, the cycles of abuses is like this. And I could suspect what happened to her as a kid in order to do some bullshit like this, to feel ultra powerful, to go start harming some other women and telling them that they must get raped by some men. Wow, that's great, girl. Yeah, so yes, they exist. I'm trying to focus even more on them too because they're a huge part of the problem because they're the same women that go, I see nothing wrong with the guy and I'm going to start targeting you because I hate victims. Blah, blah. So do you see? Because the girl's a victim and the more that they victimize her, the more brutal they get to her. They're the bullies, right? She's the bully and she's not okay in the head and she never will be, actually, you guys. And like I said, there is a spectrum because you don't, I mean, they're not all this on this level of terrible, but they do have these traits, right? So we're pulling out the traits, the bullying, the, targeting of women thing that they do generally, just like calling women liars or they cause their own rapes or whatever the case may be. And here we have someone procuring a girl to some men. And what about these men that are involved in it? How come? What is the deal here? So they got raped, but there's no thing on the guys, like anybody else up in here? The husband? What is this? This is crazy, you guys. They didn't tackle this case properly, and everything's a hot mess. I know, I realize I gotta add something to this. So, in consensual situations, everybody's consenting, right? So, there's no consent in this story because I know there's lifestyle people that actually have people at their, but should be questioning, like, the origins of these things. That's why we're talking about them because when you learn about all that stuff, there's a lot of education involved, and this is a big no-no. So it's not out of like ritualistic, say, any nonsense like that, but it's still the origins of that stuff comes from, because we're talking about in America, that comes from Christianity and the ideology of all that and male supremacy, right? So they do need to teach that in school alongside of the racism stuff because no matter what color you are, male supremacy is in them all. And the abuse on other women, and you see it's another woman doing it. That's why I'm saying, I don't even know if like female supremacy could really exist in that way because it would probably just look the same because this is a woman who is trying to be, the ultra superior, thing here. And it's not consensual thing. Okay. So she's like being ultra superior, and I'm going to tell you what to do, and you're going to go with these like men. Like that's what they're doing. So it was just a posed question. I don't know. I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't even know if it would look really any different because it's just sort of a branch off of male supremacy anyway, because it was by men for men. And so anything outside of it is just, I mean, I can't imagine it looking any different. I mean, I just can't. Like, I think the fantasy about it, like inconsensual thing when people are just playing around, is, men respect women and they, do these things like that, but they're not trying to abuse, some were abusing other women too. So that's what I'm saying. I go, it just, I don't think it would look much different. But you don't want any supremacy, the whole thing about it, because yeah, if it was flip-flop, then it would just be like this, Karen right here, whatever you want to call her, being the head of the pyramid, and then it's just her abusing everyone like men do, right? So men abuse us and then human traffic us out, and it would look like this. And then they're abusing both genders, right? Because male supremacy technically abuses both all the genders, right? All of them. And so I just don't see it really looking different, other than the head would be female, but the actual effects on like society, I think would just look a mirror image of what it is now. Because the women would abuse us. They still abuse us. It's not like they're on our side. And men technically are not on each other's side. I mean, even though they back each other for their criminality, they target themselves pretty hardcore too. And so, I mean, it would be like women get the bigger piece of the pie maybe in this, but this woman would not allow that. So this would lean still on male supremacy. Like it's her fulfilling men's desires and her wanting to be all powerful socio doing that. So she doesn't turn off. It's not like we're all down with this. She's like, you need to do this if you're going to do this. It's like nobody wanted to do that. I'm just trying to clarify it for people, so people who are in that community are not like targeted because you hear a story like this, whereas in the community there are legitimately people that are like, I want to do this for you, and everybody's totally in agreement. It's not like, oh, you have to do this if you're going to do this. It's like they typically seek out people that want to do all this stuff, and then they're not supposed to. We say they're not supposed to, but you know what people do. What people do. But like to force them into doing something they didn't want to do. They're usually very clear about, I will do whatever, makes you happy, or I'm totally into this, or they will say like, I'm not into that, so don't do that. So then like before you do things, you don't like add that in. And definitely nobody adds an animal sacrifice. That crap, this girl right here is a through and through sociopath. Okay. And so, somebody like that can be a serial killer. That's like your worst case scenario, kind of in these things. She doesn't seem like a mass shooter type, but you never know. But this is more of the, common traits of them. Because really, in comparison, as I look at the male and the female ones, are not really different. If you put her as a man, if she's a man, like I don't even know if she identifies as, something else here. But if you put her as a male and she's like, you're gonna go have sex with it, it's not different. It's just like a pimp, right? It's like doing this thing. The ego, though, is like, here, bring your parents over. It's like these people. Yeah, but there was a lot of these girls in school. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Um, I'm not a beast like that. I would screw with my friends though, dude, but I wouldn't have done that. I would have never done anything like that. There was the one girl that we were talking about where she was setting up girls to get raped and all these other things. Yeah, she had the major problem. And then, like, if I look at my friends, I look at them more like on a spectrum, like they had sociopath behavior. I'd say all of it, mostly at an age. Yeah, I would say a lot of us, but to put us on the scale with this thing, hell no. That's why I'm talking about the spectrum because I go, I know damn well there's a spectrum. Because I go, that person's a socio, but would that socio over there go do this? Hell no.